Hello, you're back. Welcome, more or less. My topic today is postmodern. What does it mean? Why do I apply it to myself? When someone asks me what kind of writer I am, I often have up to 2 dozen answers that I may give. The fact that one of them is postmodern sort of helps to explain why there are so many of them to begin with. When I first discovered the phrase, the concept of postmodern, it strongly appealed to me because the way it was being used by someone like John Barth was that you would make the most of the past. You'd be aware of the past. You could use any genre, any aspect of history, any literary school to your own advantage, as long as you would use it well. And there's the catch. Because after a while, after the first introduction of the concept and some of the first most creative uses of the concept, I'm afraid, as is often the case, it fell into misuse, perhaps because it was being too widely used. And there was a bad phase, lasting years, maybe even a full decade or longer there, where all postmodern meant was a mindless, undisciplined pastiche. You could throw together all sorts of things without any sort of overarching organization, any real purpose behind it. Just sort of showing off the fact that you'd read a lot of different things and you could mention them in your work, even though they didn't necessarily come together at all. So, what I like to do now is to distinguish myself most explicitly from that pastiche kind of approach. I am more committed to the eclectic idea. And remember, the idea eclectic means taking the best from various sources, not just being varied, but being varied in a creative way, a productive way, an intelligent way. So, for example, the Canterbury Tales in Neverland. Obviously, the title alone refers to two different works from the past. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. But there's a lot more going on in that book than me just name dropping like that. Name dropping is part of it. You can play the Trivial Pursuit game if you want. Read that book and try to find 20, 30, 100 different places where different authors are alluded to. I mean, not just Chaucer or Barrie, Shakespeare, Dickens, Rowling, King. The list really does go on and on. But the purpose is not to have a long list. The purpose is to have a meaningful list. Why are all those sources brought together in that one book? That's the real question. I mean, that's the question that a serious postmodern author provokes in his readers. Uh, when you read the Canterbury Tales in Neverland, at one level you can be looking for just all the various sources. You can also be looking at the fact that there are various sources as some sort of statement in its own right. The Canterbury Tales in Neverland as a so-called post-apocalyptic mystery of literary survival is, on one level, about the transmission of culture, the transmission of ideas, how ideas or literary works can survive in a culture, in an individual person, in a group interacting at a level in between the individual and the global culture. Uh, the various levels of analysis can become very complex, which is why it took me a very long time to write that book. And it'd probably take me a little bit too long to discuss it in what I hope to be just a 5 minute or so clip. So perhaps we'll return to it another day. Thank you and have a nice day.